A coffee gets you stimulated. Alcohol makes you depressed. Why? It's because of the way the drug interacts with your body. Some illicit drugs people take make them slow, others make them hyper, and some do crazy things like cause hallucinations. Do you know why these drugs do the things they do? It's because of the way they interact with the central nervous system, namely the brain. Let's briefly go over how drugs affect the brain and nervous system. The brain is the part of the central nervous system located within the cranium. It's composed of many different parts and regions. For example, the cerebrum is the major portion of the brain that's involved in complex visual and auditory processes, as well as higher level things like thinking. Then there's the brainstem, which is the reptilian portion of the brain that looks like a stem. It's involved in many important processes like the regulation of the heart and lungs. Deep within the cerebral hemisphere, the two halves of the cerebrum, lies the thalamus. It's like a relay station for bodily sensations. And there are plenty of other structures covered in many other lessons. The key thing to note for this lesson is that all of these parts can be affected by drugs, one way or another. No part of the brain is immune. You'll see why in just a second. The way drugs are classified depends on how the classifier wants to, well, classify them. Here's what I mean. Some drugs can be classified based on their use, like are they used for medicinal purposes or recreationally. Some can be classified based on their effects on the body, particularly the central nervous system, CNS. Others are classified in further different ways. We'll focus on the major drug classifications based on how the drug affects the central nervous system, mainly the brain. These three major classifications include stimulants, depressants, and hallucinogens. Stimulants are drugs that accelerate the activity of the central nervous system. As illegal as this may sound, you have almost certainly used a stimulant because you probably drank a cup of Morning Joe at least once in your life, or once every hour of every day of your life. The stimulant you drank? Caffeine. Other examples of stimulants include nicotine, cocaine, and amphetamines. Hopefully these guys you never touched. Regardless though, do you know what your morning stimulant does to you? It makes you feel a lot more alert, energetic, and maybe a bit jittery or anxious too, right? That's because stimulants accelerate the activity within the central nervous system, and this is how it manifests itself in your body. Now, in the case of illicit stimulants, this effect can be so profound that it kills a person because too much stimulation is bad. Like an engine that's revved too hard for too long can